everyone, welcome back to Intellipaat's YouTube channel. Today is the day 3 of Power BI series. In today's session, we will be giving you an overview of Power BI desktop.
So before we move on with our live session, please subscribe to our channel.
And also, if you want upcoming updates, please hit the bell icon and also leave a like if you enjoy our content.
Today we are going to start with Power BI desktop. Now let's see that when you want to start working with Power BI, right? So few things which you need to like always make sure before working on any project, before working on any report. The first thing is always it is recommended that always you should to work on latest Power BI desktop. Why? Because there are many functionalities, many features which are available in latest Power BI desktop only. New features in Power BI, then you have to use the latest version. Okay, how to check that? Just go to help and about, and here you can make sure that whether you are using the latest version or not. Okay, it's March 2020, so every month generally Microsoft release new update, but for Apple Microsoft did not release. The point is like how you will ensure that the new version is available or not, right? So here you will be able to see the new version available message here. Another or otherwise what you can do, you can just do one thing. You can just go to the Power BI blog, right? So here is Microsoft Power BI blog, which is like I would recommend you that you guys should visit this blog like once in a week at least, because if you want to be updated with all the Power BI and everything, right? What are the release, what are the updates, right? So here you can see that Power BI updates. Okay, so month wise you can see here like May 2020, April 2020, March 2020, right? So every month what Microsoft is doing within Power BI or like for Power BI, what is the roadmap of Power BI, everything you can get from here. Okay, so at least once in a week you can visit it. Okay, and in case if there is any update, so how you will get to know, like for example in March 2020. Okay, so Microsoft released the Power BI desktop version. So in March 2020 you will see how it looks like. So you will see a blog like this, Power BI desktop March 2020 feature summary, right? So when Microsoft will release a new update for May, so you will see in the May month you will see Power BI desktop May 2020 feature summary. Okay, so you need to simply click on this blog, and here you will see that what are all those features which Microsoft released with the new update. Okay, so these are all the new features. Okay, so you can see a pretty long list, right? You can see that all these features and functionalities have been released into the new version of Power BI. If you want to download the latest Power BI desktop, then just simply click here and you will be able to download and install it. Okay, now the second thing is when you want to work with Power BI desktop, there are some settings which you need to enable. When Microsoft release new version of Power BI desktop, then most of the features are released in a preview feature as a preview feature. Preview feature is nothing but it's just like a beta version, initial release. Okay, you can say beta or initial release. Okay, so in order to use these preview features, you need to first enable these preview features in Power BI desktop. Okay, how you will enable it? You need to go in File, then go to Options and Settings, then go to Options. Here you will see some one preview features tab. Click on it. So you just need to make sure that all these preview features are enabled, right? So you have to select, for example, if your Power BI desktop, these two are not selected, so you have to select, you have to check mark all these preview features. Okay, only then you will be able to use these initial new features of Power BI. Okay, so select all of them and click OK and restart your Power BI desktop. Okay, apart from that, there are some other settings which you can see here under this settings window, right? So for example, what happens actually once you start working with Power BI. Okay, so Power BI desktop is start storing some data or some temporary file in its cache memory. Okay, so time to time, like once, depending on the usage. Okay, but generally like once in a month at least, you should clear the cache by just coming here. Come here, go to data load, and here you can see clear cache, right? So just clear it. So what will happen by this? It will clear all the temporary files, all the like some raw data from the cache memory. Okay, so you just need to make sure like you are cleaning it. Otherwise, what will happen? The cache size will continuously going to be increasing and increasing and increasing, and it will be like making your Power BI desktop bit slow, and it will occupy much space in your machine. Okay, so this is just like once in a month. If you do, then it's good enough. But if your usage is not too much, then once in a quarter also you can do that. Okay, so it's not very frequent activity. That is just one thing. So basically, whatever the setting you want to do, you want to change for your product for Power BI desktop, then this is the place where you need to come. Okay. Once again, I'm telling you that how to come here. Go to File, Options and Settings. Next, I was saying most of the things basically we can control from that settings window. Okay, but in as of now, only this thing you need to just make sure that all the preview features are enabled or not. Now let's move to the data sources point. So the point is, when you want to work with Power BI, what thing you need? What is that thing? What you need? We need the data. Okay, before creating any report, any data model, what we need the data. Okay, and in Power BI, it's very easy, very straightforward to get the data Power BI from any data source. How? Simply go to this get data button. You can see here get data, right? And this get data is very similar, right? Almost all the Power BI. See, Power BI is just a luxurious version of Excel. Got my point? Power BI is just a luxurious version of Excel and other components. So if you go in Excel, if you go to the data, here you can see get data option. All right. And if you go here, you see get data. Even the icon, if you see, even the icon you see, that is also same. Why? Because most of the features, most of the things are coming from the Excel. And that's the reason like why Power BI is like gaining much popularity in the market within just a few years in comparison to other BI tools. Because most of the business users, most of the people are like are easily able to relate it with the Excel. Okay, and if they can relate it with Excel, then it means it is very easy for them to learn it, to understand it. That's why Power BI is much user friendly in comparison to other BI products. So when I want to get the data from any data source, let's say, let's begin with Excel. So you need to click here. Here you will see some common data sources. Okay, so this is the default list from Microsoft. You cannot change it. Okay, you cannot change this default list. But if you want to see the complete list of data sources, right, then what we need to do, we need to click here on more button, right? Or instead of clicking in on this arrow, right, you can directly click on this logo, on this icon, right? If I click on this arrow button, then it will show me a drop down list here and I'll see some data sources here. If I want to see the complete list, then I can click on more button. Once I click on more button, I'll see a window like this. Here I can see all the data sources. Okay, but most of the buttons like having two actions. One is if I click on this arrow, it means this button is having two operations, two actions. If I click here on this arrow, it will give me a list. Otherwise, if I directly click on the icon, it will open the complete list directly. I have clicked like this. All right. So you just see here few buttons like where you see this arrow. Here you have the arrow. It means there is another option under this arrow, right? There's like this into this transform data. If I click on it, here you see there are other options also. Okay. So never thought like it is transform data only. No. Under this button, there are some other actions also which you can perform, which you can use. And how to know them, how to know that under which button it is, by just this arrow button you can identify, oh, under this I can see some more options, some more actions. Okay, like new visual. So if I click on this new visual, then what will happen? A new visual will be added here. I clicked, a new visual has been added here. Okay, so it means there is not any other action under this button, okay, behind this button. Why? Because there is not any arrow button. Okay, you can see a small arrow here, more visual. So okay, so you can click here and you can see, oh, there are two options under this. So always make sure it, because many times what I felt like many people just are trying to find one feature, one button, and they are not able to find it. Why? Because actually that feature may be under any other feature here like this, or maybe like this. Or if by default, if you want to open the main button, right, you see here transform data, right? If you want to open the transform data directly, then you can click on this icon. Okay. If you want to see the complete list of actions, then you have to click on this arrow button. You got my point? Okay, so now let's open the data sources. So your data sources are available here in this list. Here you can see that these are categorized in different categories like file, databases, Power Platform data source, Azure data source, right? So in this way, these are like categorized in different And Microsoft is continuously increasing this list. Currently, we have like around 100 data sources from where you can extract the data in Power BI. So for example, if you want to search any data source, let's say Excel, then you can use this search button. And here you choose this Excel, click on connect, right? So it's very straightforward. And you then go to your data source. So let me just get any Excel. All right, so here I got this Excel file. Once you got the Excel file, then you can click on open button. Okay. If you are going to load the Excel file from your machine, from your local machine, then it's straightforward. But if you want to get the Excel file, let's say your Excel file is placed on some other network drive. Okay, then no problem. If you have the access, the read access of that network drive, of that shared drive, then you can just simply pass that path here and you can extract the data from there also. Click on open. All right, so here you will be able to see this tables, right? So these are three sheets, right? These are three sheets in that Excel file. So that's why we are able to see these three here. Okay. So now what is this? This is the Navigator window. You can see here, this is Navigator window. So we need to understand this window, the purpose of this window. It's not just like a window. Actually, what is it? When you load the data on this Navigator window, it means your connection has been successfully established with your data source. One thing. Okay. The second thing is when you load the data and you can see this data into the Navigator window, it means right now data has been loaded in your RAM, in your memory. Okay. When you select any table, let's say I select orders table, and you can see here, this is the preview, right? So this is the preview of the data. So it means where the data is right now. Right now the data is in RAM. That's why it is recommended to use at least 8 GB of RAM. It is just recommended, but the minimum requirement is 4 GB. So if you are working on large data set and you do not have like a good amount of RAM, then you may face some lagging or some data loading issues. Okay. So once you can see this data here, right? So it means this data is right now into the memory. The data right now is not in your hard disk, or physically it's not available in the Power BI desktop. If I minimize it, and here you see that nothing is available in the Power BI desktop. The data you see here in this window right now, the data is in memory. Okay, so that's why it has been said that when you load the data, Power BI can hold your data in the memory. Okay, and you can transform, you can do the data modeling when the data is in memory. That's why the data transformation is very fast. Okay, it means you can hold your data for a while within the RAM. Okay. Okay, so now here you select your tables. Let's say I have selected two tables. Okay, now I want to load this data in Power BI desktop or in query editor. There are two things. One you can see here load button, and one you can see transform data, right? What are the difference between them? So when you load some data, when you extract some data, then sometimes your data might be required for some data transformation, or sometime like it is already transformed, it is already cleared. Straightforward, now you need to do the visualization for it. Okay, let's say if your data is not clean, you need to do some data transformation in it, then you have to click on this transform data button. Once you will click on this transform data button, it will open your data into the another window. Let's click on it. Right, so now you can see the data has been loaded in another window, that is Power Query Editor. What is this? Power Query Editor. So this Power Query Editor is basically a very powerful tool, and we can say it's a ETL place where you can perform all your data transformation.
Just a quick info, guys. Intellipaat provides Power BI online certification training in partnership with Microsoft, mentored by industry experts. The course link is given in the description below. Now, let's continue with the session.
There are a lot of options, right, on the different tabs. So we are not going in much detail in this session in all these operations. So first we need to understand that once you have the data here, then what you can do with the data and what you cannot do with the data. So the one thing which you cannot do, which you cannot expect, the write back operation is not performed, right? It's not valid. What is write back means? Like I extracted this data from Excel. I extracted this data from the Excel, And if I remove this row ID column from here like this, okay, so now what happened? Row ID column has been removed, has been deleted from the Power BI data model. So it doesn't mean like it also has been deleted, it also has been removed from the Excel. No. So whatever the option of like operation you will do here, addition, deletion of any column, data filtration, there will not be any write back impact on your source data or on your Excel. Okay, so don't confuse with it. Like if you are removing some data, then it might get some impact on your source data also. Okay, so it's never possible. Even if you want to do that, that is also not possible. Okay, so write back is not possible. Only you can extract the data, you can read the data only. That's it. Got it? So now you have these two tables here. So you can see the queries here. Queries is written here. So don't be confused with it. Queries is nothing but just table. Okay. In terms of Power BI, we call it queries. We call tables as queries. Okay. So there are two queries, or I can say two tables, right? Now this is a very small data set, right? You may have like here 10, 20 or 50 tables also. Now, when you load this data, when you like start transformation, data transformation on this data, you have to use different buttons and different things here, okay, based on your requirement. Once you do it, once you complete all your data transformation, right, then what you have to do, you have to load this data in Power BI Desktop. Means data is not available right now in your hard disk, in your Power BI Desktop. You can see here, there's nothing in Power BI Desktop right now. So it means when you load the data in Power Query Editor, when you load the data in Power Query Editor, it means the data again will be loaded in the memory. Okay, data again will be loaded in the memory, and whatever the data transformation you will do, that will be happening inside the with the data when it is in the RAM. That's why it is in memory data transformation. Okay. All right. So once you have done all your data transformations here. Okay. It means right now the data is in memory. Now I need to load this data in Power BI Desktop. So how to load that? For loading that, I can simply click on this button, close and apply. So what it will do, it will close this Power Query Editor and it will load the data in Power BI Desktop. It will apply all the changes, all the data transformation changes, and it will load the data in Power BI Desktop here. Okay, so let's click on this, close and apply. As of now, I'm not going to show any data transformation operation. Okay, first we need to understand that how it works. Okay, then we will come to here on this query editor tab again. So let's close and apply this button. Now what will happen? Data will start loading in Power BI Desktop. Till now, data was in memory. Based on the data size, based on the network, based on the data source, it may take some time. Okay. All right, so now you can see the data has been loaded in Power BI Desktop. So now what happened with the data which was in the memory? That memory now has been cleaned up. Data has been removed from the memory now because now we have loaded the data in physical memory into the in your hard disk in Power BI Desktop. Okay, it's clear. So we need to understand like when data is in physical memory and when data is in temp memory, when data is in RAM and when data is in hard disk. All right, so now data has been loaded in Power BI Desktop and we have the data here. If you want to see the tabular preview of this data, then you can see here there are three tabs, right? Report tab, data tab, and model tab. You need to go here into the data tab and you can see the data of the selected table, right? If I select returns table, here you can see returns table data. So now let's move further. So this was the way, like once you have the data here in Power BI Desktop, then rest of the thing is like you need to work with relationships, you need to work with formulas, need to work with creating calculated columns, measures, values, right? But the thing is, first you need to load the data. Okay. After that, let me just show you here. What are the steps you need to perform? First, extract the data from where? Data source. After that, data transformation, where? Under query editor. After that, you have to load data in Power BI Desktop. Once you load the data in Power BI Desktop, then you have to create the relationships, create and manage. After that, you need to create columns, tables, or measures based on requirement. It's not mandatory, based on requirement using DAX. After that, again, you need to manage your relationships if required. So this is the step like which it depends on you, like where you want to do it. Before the DAX, you can do it, or like after DAX also you can do it, right? So it's up to you. All right. Next is once you are done with your data transformation using the DAX, then data visualization. Data visualization, or I can say reports development. Once report development is done, then you need to publish, or we can say deploy on Power BI service. Once it is in the Power BI service, then you can perform a lot of things like you can do sharing, dashboard development, scheduling, data refresh, right? There are multiple things. And somewhere here, if required in your report, then you have to implement the data security also. That you would do here after doing this data visualization. Here you have to implement RLS, right? Data security. Okay. So these are the high level steps, like basically the process flow, how you work, first what you do, then what you do, then what to do, then what to do. Okay. So just a high level. All right. So we saw that how to extract the data from Excel. Now let's suppose if I want to extract the data from any OData link. What is OData? OData is nothing. It's a web service link, or it's a web link. Let's suppose I have one database. Okay. That database I have published onto the internet. Okay. And I have exposed one web service so that other people can leverage that database for their analysis, for their development, or for whatever. Okay. So how to get the data from OData service? Straightforward again. I'm just going to save this file. I'm going to open a new file. Okay. So let's save this. This is Excel data. Once I save this, you have to check that file. It is appearing here. Okay. And what is the extension of this file? .pbix. So what is this .pbix? It's nothing but it's an extension, file extension of Power BI desktop files. Now you can share this file with other people also, or if you want, you can publish it also. Okay. So in this file, you can see the size of this file is 2147 KB. Why that much size? Because this file is holding this file is storing your data, your Excel data. That's why you can see here the size. And when it's Power BI stores the data, then it uses some compression methods. Okay, so it doesn't mean like if your data is in like it's 100 MB, so the Power BI desktop file, this PBX file will also be 100 MB. No. Why? Because it will compress the data as much as possible, and after that you will be able to see like around 5 to 10 MB file only. All right, so now let's start the Power BI desktop again, because now we are going to see how we can extract data from any OData. Meanwhile, let me find out a sample OData link for you. There is one sample database, Northwind sample database, or already I have this one. I'm just showing you how you can find also. All right, so you can get this OData link from somewhere from any URL, from any website. Okay. Although it is difficult to find any sample OData link. Anyways, I'm already having, so I'm just using that one. Okay, so I have one OData link. If I open this into the browser, then let's see how it looks like. So this is a Northwind sample database. Okay, and you can see that the data is appearing here. So now let's get this data in Power BI. So whenever you want any data in Power BI, you need to go and get data. Go here directly. I can see OData feed here. Okay, so I click on it. Here I have to provide this URL, right? You can see there's one basic and one advanced button, right? So if I click on advanced, it means if you have multiple web service links, and at the same time, if you want to extract the data from multiple links in Power BI, then you can add that link. Let's say I have another link, I can post it here. If I have another link, I can add it here. Okay. So it means you can add multiple links based on your requirement. Okay. Now click on OK. As this is a public web service link, so I can connect to it anonymously. No password, user ID are required. Okay. So you can see I have connected and I can see the data where in Navigator window. It means once you can see the data in Navigator window, now you are ready to go for data transformation. So what you need to do, you need to select some tables here. For example, I'm going to use order details, customers, orders, products, and one more is category table. Fine. So I have selected these tables. Now you can see in this scenario, you can see there are like multiple tables. Okay. So if you want to search any particular table, then you can just go here and you can search, for example, region table. Select it. Now, if you want to see that how many tables you have selected, which you are going to load for that, you want to see the list of selected tables only. Right now it is showing complete list. I want to see a list of selected tables. Go to this options and click on only selected items. It will give you a list of only the selected items. Now it's up to me. Like if this data is transformed already, then if I want, I can directly load it in Power BI Desktop. But as a general practice, we should always load this data in Query Editor just to have a look that whether the data is cleaned or not, or if any data transformation is required. Okay. So let's click on this transform data. When I click on the transform data, data has been loaded in Power Query Editor. Okay. And where is this data right now? This data is in RAM, is in the RAM memory. You see in Power BI Desktop, nothing is appearing. Okay. It means right now this data has been loaded in your RAM. Fine. Now here you can do your data transformation, data modeling, like you can remove some columns, you can add some columns, you can do some joins, appends, whatever you want. You can do group by, pivot, unpivot, a lot of operations you can perform here. And these operations basically we call data transformation operations. Okay.
Just a quick info, guys. Intellipaat provides Power BI online certification training in partnership with Microsoft, mentored by industry experts. The course link is given in the description below.
So guys, we have come to the end of our session. I hope you all enjoyed it. For any questions that you have related to coding, you can mention it in the comment sections below.
So thank you so much for attending this session and meet you in another session.